The Philadelphia Eagles will open their season on the road versus the New England Patriots tomorrow, where each team will be looking to start their season off right by leaving this game 1-0. However, I think it's very clear that the Eagles are the team with the edge in this matchup, whether it be because of their dominant offensive line, their stacked pass rush, the crazy good group of skill players they have, their great secondary, or of course their elite QB. The Eagles have the edge in a lot of different areas, and they very well could dominate the Patriots in this game. However, the game still has to be played, and if the Eagles aren't careful, they could very well walk out of this Week 1 contest with a loss. So what do the Birds have to do in this game to make sure that they walk out of Foxborough with a win? Well, we're going to talk about all that in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So the long offseason is finally over. We're going to have Eagles football here in just one short day, as well as an entire slate of games on Sunday, and it's just so great to finally have football back. And for the Eagles, this is their first chance to finally get that bad taste of the Super Bowl loss out of their mouths after having to deal with it for an entire offseason. Although that might be more of a fan's mindset heading into this thing, because from what it sounds like from inside the Eagles locker room, nobody's thinking about the Super Bowl loss right now. Everyone is dialed in and focused on New England, and Nick Sirianni, I think, has done a really good job of using the Super Bowl loss as initial motivation, but then also encouraging the team to move on from it and focus on what's right in front of them every single day, which at the end of the day is what got them to the Super Bowl in the first place last year. So again, now headed into this game, none of the players are thinking about last year. Everyone is focused and ready for a brand new season, and Haason Reddick made sure to emphasize that when he last spoke to the media.
Last year, everything from the success we had to losing the Super Bowl, right? It's over. It's a whole new year. Everybody's starting off 0-0. You don't know how this thing will end. So if you're still worried about how you played last year or worried about, losing the Super Bowl from last year, I mean, you're already starting off, distracted, thinking about the wrong things, right? The 0-0, new year. It's a new year of football. Everybody has to let last year go.
So it really does sound like everyone, from the coaches to the players, are in the right frame of mind heading into this game, which is just one thing that I think are going to help their chances of winning. But another thing that could definitely help their chances is how both teams' injury reports are looking ahead of this game. As for the Eagles, they're in really good shape, as it seems they're completely healthy heading into Sunday with nobody listed on Friday's injury report. But now for the Patriots, it's a completely different story, as they're not healthy at all heading into this game. For starters, their offensive line is super banged up, with of course their starting right tackle Reiff being on IR. Then their two starting guards in Cole Strange and Mike Onwenu are both questionable for this matchup as they recover from injuries. The Pats could be rolling out a squad of backups along their offensive line, and that's going to be super tough for them because they're going to be trying to stop a super talented and stacked Eagles defensive line and pass rush. But that's not even all the injuries that the Pats are dealing with, as wide receiver Devante Parker is also questionable with a knee injury, and he's been limited in practice all week. Plus, starting running back Rhamondre Stevenson was out of practice on Friday with an illness. So if all these guys who are questionable can't go, the Pats are going to be relying a lot on backups on what's already not a super talented offense as is, and specifically if Stevenson can't go, we're going to be seeing a lot of a familiar face in Ezekiel Elliott. And then finally, there's one more notable injury for the Patriots heading into this game, and that is that cornerback Jack Jones has been listed out for the game with a hamstring injury. So now when you look at this matchup on paper, not only are the Eagles clearly the more talented team, but they're also clearly the more healthy team, and that's just another reason why they should be able to win this game on Sunday. But again, there's never any guarantees in the NFL, and the Eagles are going to have to come out here and take it. So what are the things that they're going to have to do in order to start the season off right with a win? Well, for starters, I think they have to try and slow down the Patriots' run game. The forecast in New England on Sunday is calling for some rain, so depending on how bad it gets, the Patriots are probably going to want to run the ball a decent amount. And I mean, it's not like New England is a team with a prolific passing attack, at least they weren't last year, plus with the offensive line being banged up, maybe they'd rather run the ball more than throw it to try and protect Mac Jones from the Eagles' prolific pass rush, which we're going to get to in just a minute. But the Pats also do have some good running backs. The only thing that's complicating this is the Rhamondre Stevenson situation and whether he's going to end up playing or not. But regardless of that, I still think that the Pats are going to want to run the ball, in large part because of the Eagles' pass rush, and also because I think that one of the only chances they have at winning is if they control the time of possession. I mean, they're definitely going to try and keep the ball away from the Eagles' prolific offense. We saw the Commanders do that to the Eagles last year, and that was how they handed the Eagles their first loss of the season in pretty surprising fashion. So I'm thinking the Patriots, being a team that doesn't necessarily have a super explosive offense, is going to try and mimic that and do something similar. However, that could be really tough because I do think the Eagles' run defense is going to be much improved this year than it was last year, in large part because of the increased role that Jordan Davis is going to see. I mean, we saw how important that Davis was to the run defense last year in a very limited role, so now that he's going to step into being a starter this year, on top of the fact that he's already in much better shape and he looks to be much improved from last year, I think he's going to have a really good season and be a big reason why the Eagles' run defense is improved from last year, year, and that starts in week 1 versus the Patriots. Plus, I also think that it's going to be hard for the Patriots to run the ball a lot, because as long as the offense does what they should in this game, the Pats should be playing from behind, or at least trying to keep pace with the Eagles in terms of scoring points, meaning that the Pats offense is going to have to pass the ball a lot, probably a lot more than they would like. I mean, if you go back to that Washington game from last year, the Commanders were able to really control that game, not just because they were effective at running the ball, but also because the Eagles offense kept shooting themselves in the foot by uncharacteristically turning the ball over, which was probably the biggest deciding factor in that game. So, as long as the Eagles offense, for one, doesn't turn the ball over, but also puts up points, they should be in a really good spot. And yes, I do understand that the Patriots defense is their strong suit, and they actually have a really good defense, which they seem to have year in and year out because of Bill Belichick and his defensive mind. Last year, the Pats were the 8th overall defense in the league, and a huge part of that was the play of their defensive line, and specifically star pass rusher Matthew Judon, who was tied for 4th in the league in sacks last year with 15.5. So the Eagles are definitely going to have to account for him and make sure that he doesn't ruin the game. And just as a whole, the Pats' pass rush is really good, so the Eagles are going to have to try and find a way to neutralize that to some extent. And I think the main way for them to do this is by using the RPO effectively. I mean, we've seen this before where the Eagles face a good pass rushing team, but through the use of the RPO, they have to make the defense account for multiple different things and make decisions, and they're able to effectively slow down the pass rush. And specifically, the Eagles had success neutralizing some of the game's top pass rushers last year by doing this. They did it with Micah Parsons in week 6 when they were playing the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and it was very effective. Micah Parsons didn't really do much during the course of that game until Lane Johnson went down. And then that brings me to my next point, which is, of course, the Eagles have arguably the best tackle in all of football in Lane Johnson protecting Jalen Hurts as well, so he's going to be tasked with slowing down Judon throughout the game. And I think if the Eagles do a similar thing that they did versus the Cowboys in that matchup and just throughout the season last year using the RPO in that way, they can have success in slowing down Matthew Judon in the Patriots pass rush, and they should be in really good shape. And then, of course, the Eagles also just have so many weapons that the Patriots defense has to account for. I mean, the 2-star wide receivers on the outside should be able to have success in this game going up against some solid but not amazing cornerbacks, and the Patriots last year, they did play a decent amount of man coverage, which sounds great to me, because if you're going to leave one of AJ or Smitty one-on-one, I take either one of them every single time. Plus, then you also got Dallas Goedert, who I think could have a very good game as well. And then the Patriots also, of course, must account for the Eagles' running game, which in 2 years under Nick Sirianni has been really dominant, for one reason because of Jalen Hurts and his ability to use his legs, but also the Eagles' offensive line just makes it so tough for opposing defenses to slow down the running game and the running backs, that if the Eagles get up in this game, don't be surprised if they just kind of do what they did last year and pound the rock so they can limit the Patriots' offense's chances to have the ball and just bleed the clock out. And on top of this, one newcomer to the team could be a big part of not only the Eagles having a successful day on the ground on Sunday, but also through the air. So don't worry, we're going to get to that in a little bit more in just a minute. But real quick here, I want to say, if you are enjoying this video and want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people, you've been consistently watching the videos, you're enjoying them, you love the Philadelphia Eagles, and you don't want to miss any other future videos covering them throughout this entire season, make sure you fix that right now, subscribe, and also turn on notifications. And also, if you want to get hyped before the game tomorrow, make sure you check out my Eagles hype video. The link will be in the description. So my second channel, Philly Fan 21 Productions. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. Now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So I do want to talk about DeAndre Swift real quick, because as I've been saying this entire offseason, he has the potential to take this offense to the next level, not just because of his ability to run the football effectively and have success doing that, but his receiving ability adds yet another dynamic to this Eagles offense that defenses must account for. And Nick Sirianni is on record saying that Swift catches the ball like a wide receiver, and there's also multiple reports suggesting that the Eagles could use Swift heavily in that receiving back type of role and even split him out wide sometimes. I mean, just during practice this week, he was seen practicing with receivers while the other running backs were taking handoffs, so I really do think this is going to be something to keep your eye on Sunday. And if the Patriots are somehow able to find a way to slow down the RPO game that the Eagles are surely going to want to run a lot, they're still going to have to find a way to stop Swift from catching the ball out of the backfield, which, depending on how creative the Eagles get with it, could be really tough to do. And overall, it just sounds like DeAndre Swift is really excited for his debut with his hometown team.
A lot of emotion. I know it's going to be a lot of emotion. Something I'm excited for and blessed to be a part of. I always say it since I've been in the league. Whatever it's going to be, whatever opportunities I'm given, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, no matter what.
And now the last thing that I want to talk about is really the main reason that I think the Eagles are going to end up dominating this game, and that is the pass rush. I mean, obviously we've been talking about this all week, and with the injuries to the Patriots offensive line, the pass rush should really be able to have a lot of success. I mean, I don't got to go through every single one of the guys the Eagles have within that group, but that defensive line is super stacked, and also everyone's healthy, and with Sean Desai as the new defensive coordinator, not only do I think there's a good chance of an increased amount of creativity with how the Eagles rush the passer, which, to be fair, there was some of that last year, but I still think the scheme and the plays will be even more creative this season than they were last year. And then I also think you're going to see a lot more blitzes this season starting in week 1 than you did with Jonathan Gannon as the DC last year. So with the stacked defensive line, probably more blitzes and creativity to account for, and a banged up O-line for the Patriots, Mac Jones could really be in trouble. And if they're playing from behind, which I expect them to because of the Eagles' prolific offense, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. And that's when the Eagles' defensive line can really just pin their ears back and go get the QB. I mean, I'm just so excited to watch a lot of these guys, particularly Jalen Carter, who's just gotten so much hype this training camp and preseason, and I really do think this could be a day where you see the Eagles defense get 6, 7, 8 sacks, something like that. I do think it's going to be a dominating effort by the defensive line. And now just to round this out, I'm going to give my final score prediction. So I'm going to say the Eagles start their revenge season off right by winning this game by a final score of 31-17. So far in Nick Sirianni's tenure, the Eagles have come out in week 1 and been really good on the offensive side of the ball. I expect nothing different this year, and I also think that the Eagles defense is going to be able to have a lot of success against this pretty injured Patriots offense. So that's my final score, but what do you guys think? Drop your score predictions down in the comments below. And also, if you don't want to miss any videos after the game tomorrow, just throughout the rest of the regular season, again, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, and again, leave that comment down below. Give me your final score prediction for the Week 1 contest versus the Patriots. And also, if you want to watch another video covering some news that happened earlier in the week leading up to this matchup, you can go watch it right here. And again, watch my Eagles hype video right here. You're not going to want to miss that. And with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.